Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zaps with Zach, where we're featuring CASEpeer's new Zapier integration. My name is Jaclyn Kafesjian, and I'm head of client success at CASEpeer, the preferred practice management software built for personal injury law firms. Joining me today is Zach Herbert, the founder and CEO of Herbert Law Group, a personal injury law firm in Texas, and of ZDH Consulting. Zach was a judge advocate in the Marine Corps after graduating law school. And after working for one of the largest personal injury firms in Texas, he founded his own firm, signed up for CASEpeer, and started an MBA program all in the same year. Zach has been using Zapier for years and was an early beta user of our CASEpeer integration. I'm so excited to have him here and to show us why he loves Zapier and how he uses it to power and automate his law firm. Welcome, Zach.
Great to be here. I wanted to show everybody my glasses that I made just for this. It says Zap on it because I'm that excited about Zapier, and I'm also quite the dork. So I just wanted to start this whole thing off with that. Next thing to talk about is Zapier. I think, Jaclyn, you said that maybe if there's any questions or anything throughout this, you put it in the chat, right?
Yes, please. There's a chat on the right-hand side, so there'll be a couple polls, which you'll see. So the first one, do you currently use Zapier, is already up. And then, of course, if you have questions, suggestions, other things you're thinking about automating, throw those in as questions. We're reading all of those.
All right. So let's jump right into it. This is, right now you're looking at a Zap. And just a little overview on Zapier itself. It is a no-code software or platform. And what that means is if there is anything that you use that is connected to the internet, to the cloud, and it integrates with Zapier, then Zapier can say, if this happens, then do this. It's an if this, then that type of a software. And we, as all of us as attorneys, don't think that you can't figure this out. If you can figure out a contract, then you can figure out how to use Zapier. The first thing is called a trigger, and that's at the very top here is this trigger right here, and that's the if this of the sequence of events that we're going to talk about today. So CASEpeer now has two different triggers that they're sharing with Zapier. So once you create a Zapier account, which is free to create, then you can start integrating with the different things that you use. A couple of the things that I use CASEpeer now, I use Dropbox, I use Slack, I use Office 365, and all of these different platforms, I add them to my account in Zapier. And I sign in and I say, it's a new window that says, hey, do you give Zapier permission to look at your stuff? And you say yes. And then you go back to Zapier and you create a Zap, which is just a list of things that are going to happen, if this and that. So here's the trigger for case status. For CASEpeer. And that is when the case status changes. So I've already created it, but the first thing that happens is it says, which one do you want to use? You want to use CASEpeer? You want to use Dropbox? And I said here, CASEpeer already. And the trigger event, there are two to choose from. And this one is case status change. That's what we're going to go over today. So that means once you connected CASEpeer to Zapier, anytime any of your open cases change the status code from, let's say, treating to demanded, it will trigger this Zap. And it'll go through the Zap and see if there's anything it needs to do according to what you have outlined already. So here it is. The other one is a new lead, and we won't go into that one today, but there's two so far. Jaclyn tells me that CASEpeer is working on more triggers that will come out in the days to come, in the years to come, and so we'll have lots of different opportunities to make automations to make our law firms more efficient. So case status change, and then I've signed into my CASEpeer account here, and then the trigger, it says, hey, we found something. And right now, this is an example of what data is given to Zapier when a case status changes. So it says, hey, a case status has changed, and it is for John Smith. That's the name of this client here. This is a fake client. It's not a real client. And it will give you all of this information to choose from. It has the data loss, retain. I'm not going to read all of these things, but as you can see, as I scroll down here, even the address of the client, who is the primary contact on the case, the lead attorney, all of this is pulled whenever a trigger happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue over here to my conditional running. I wanted to be able to send an email to my clients that says, hey, that automatically sends to them when their case status changes. So I want it to be automated. I don't want to have to do anything at all. No copy and pasting, no nothing like that. So the conditional run says, hey, I'm going to look at a few things and see if I need to send an email. I'm going to share something else right now before we even get to that. And that is this right here. I created something I just call it a case tracker. This is something I directly from, if you've ever ordered a pizza from any pizza place, they have a pizza tracker, right? And it says, hey, they're delivering it, they're preparing your pizza, they're putting the toppings on. That's what I wanted our clients to see. So I just created this in an app called Procreate on my iPad. Very easy to do. You can create anything. All it is just a picture. And I'm going to go through these slides real quick and show you what happens. It goes from treating to pending demand to demanded, and then a new one whenever we're in litigation, from pending lawsuit, filing serving, discovery, depositions, mediation, and trial. This is a little bit of a diagram. I know it looks complicated, but I wanted to show it before I showed the rest of the Zap on what happens when the Zapier runs. If it's a pre-lit case, meaning it has treating, pending demand, or demanded, then it will send a Slack message to my Slack that says, hey, we've just emailed the client because they changed the case status. Why did I do this? Because if you accidentally change the case status to something that it shouldn't be, which this has already come up in my law firm, we want everybody to know so we can call that client and say, hey, ignore the email that you just got. You're not going to trial. We sent a demand. We accidentally did that. This has only happened once because I think we changed it from pending assignment to pending demand, and instead of the other way around. And so we just called the client and they were fine. But this only happened once. That's why I wanted to send a Slack message. Now it says, okay, if it's treating, send a treating email. If it's pending demand, send them pending demand email, and so on and so forth. And so these dotted lines mean this conditional running, the Zap is looking for these specific things. It's looking for the pre-lit case. If it sees it, it goes through here. It's looking for the lit case. If it sees it, it goes through here, and so on and so forth. Now, here is the Slack message. I've blacked out all of the client names, so nobody's information is up here. But test is the name of my test case, which I'll show you. And this is what the Slack message looks like. We're going to go back to the actual Zap itself. And I'm going to click on pre-lit and show you what it looks like whenever you're doing a conditional run. Conditional run is a little bit more complicated than a straight if this, then that Zap. If this, then that. And then there's a couple of different if this, then that's within it, if you can think about it, maybe looping throughout. So I named it pre-lit, and I said, here are the rules. If the case status, remember, this is from the trigger, if the case status exactly matches treating or pending demand or demanded, keep on going. So if it doesn't, then it goes to the next one. And the next one is lit. So in lit, it has the same thing. It says, okay, well, if the case status matches service, deposition, mediation, then keep going through this one. And then finally, trial. The reason that I broke it up into 3 different parts is because you can only have 5, I believe, conditions in each one of these. So since my lit took up 5 already, I couldn't do any more. Now, once it goes through, it says, okay, we're going to send the message in Slack. And this is what it looks like when you send a message in Slack. Right now, it's pulling this information. Client first name, John. Client last name, Smith. That's going to be different every time this runs. As you've already seen in the Slack that I showed you, it was test, because that's the name of my test case. And then I wrote this, was just emailed a case update because the case was changed to. I just wrote that. It's the same every time. And then the case status, it's pulling from that trigger that we've already looked at. And then my favorite is this link to the case. because that's another thing that is pulled whenever it's a trigger. It's the URL of the actual case. So now if anybody sees this in Slack, they click on it, it opens up a website, it opens up CASEpeer, takes you directly to that client. So you can do anything in that client's case that you want to. So that's what the Slack message looks like. On down, we're going to go to one of these emails. This one is the litigation initiated. If it exactly matches litigation initiated as a case status, then go to the next step. And the next step is send an outbound email. And this is what the email looks like. It pulls the client's email from CASEpeer. It pulls the client's first name. It says, hey, John, you have a case update from Herbert Law Group. And then here is a little bit of a complicated part, but I'm going to break it down for you. Don't worry. You can only do HTML in this box for this email. Now, you don't have to do HTML. You can just write text, but it won't look good, and you won't have my cool pictures that I made. So I created an email in MailChimp because I just like MailChimp. It's easy to create emails in MailChimp. I'm using hand motions, by the way, this entire time, and I know nobody can see me, but just so you know, I'm waving my hands all over the place while I'm talking. So here I am in MailChimp. This is all my templates that I made, and these are all the emails that I made for clients. You can create an email in Outlook. You can create an email in Gmail, just like you're going to send it. Make it nice and neat and looks good, and then you can export that email to HTML as well. I'm just not going to show you how to do that here because I like MailChimp, but there's a lot of different ways to get the HTML code of your email. Here is my email when the case is in treating. So it shows the case tracker. Here's my law firm logo at the top, a little bit about what treating means. And then I have a YouTube video that when they click on it, it goes to a YouTube video of me talking about the treating phase. This is cutting down on a lot of time that I'm sure we all spend on updating our clients on what's going on with their case. It's automated now. You change it to treating, the client gets the email, they get a video of you talking about what it means to be in the treating phase. The calls coming in asking what's going on with my case and what does that mean go down to drastically go down, and you can focus on more things to make your law firm money. So once that's done and I've created that email, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say export as HTML, and then I open that and copy and paste it into this box right here. Okay, easy peasy. And then it says, okay, whoever, when they reply to the email, who are they going to email? I put the lead attorney in here, not my email address, but whoever is the lead attorney in my law firm. So if they reply and go, hey, why am I in treating? I should be doing this. The lead attorney is going to get it, be able to take care of that. So that's what the entire Zap looks like. Let's look at what happens when the Zap is triggered. So here's my test case. It has my personal email on here. Please don't start emailing my personal email. It has my personal email on here. I'm going to change this to treating, and it's going to immediately send an email to my personal email, and that's that treating email. So I've got my email open right now. Here's an email. Your case is in treating. This is what it looks like. When I click on this YouTube icon right here, opens up a new thing,
Herbert here.
and it's me saying, hey, and it talks more about the treating phase. Okay. Jaclyn, I've been talking a long time. If I've missed anything, you let me know.
Oh, no, this is fabulous. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Hey, no problem at all. No problem. Let's go back into Zapier for a second, and I'll just keep nerding out for you guys. So I'm going to go back to the case status change and choosing your account and the test trigger. Here we go. Now, think of all the different things that you can do with this information. You don't have to create this really complicated Zap that I've just created. I wanted to show the possibilities that exist out there. And if you feel overwhelmed right now and you're like, I'll never be able to create something like that, don't worry. I've got some easier ones for some ideas for you. Here's the first one. Look, the case status has changed, and you have the client's information right here. You can just send yourself an email. It says, hey, the client's case status has changed. It's for Bill, and send yourself an email whenever that happens. You could, if the case status changes only to trial. If it's trial, then send me a text message. It can send text messages in Zapier. you can say, text me whenever a case is sent to trial. If you have a smart light bulb, like a Philips Hue light bulb, and the case is changed to treating, you can make the light bulb turn colors. I'm not kidding. This is all the different things that you can do with all of the different things that connect to Zapier. I like Slack for the notifications. I don't like emails. I like Slack because in Slack, it's all in a history form, like a chat, history, like I've already showed you here. I'll show you mine again. Here it is. This is what my Slack looks like. On the left is all my channels. I created a channel just for case update emails. And you can see Tuesday and Wednesday. Here are all of the different times we changed a case to a different case status. And it just keeps on going up. Slack is free, by the way. You don't have to pay for Slack. If you want to pay for Slack, you can, and it keeps your messages for all time. We don't use it to save anything. We don't use it for any of our clients' information. So it's just a notification thing. So it can delete it after about 6 months, I think, is as long as you can go. And that's Slack. That's why I recommend Slack for all of my different notifications. Over here on the left, you can see HelloSign. I've got a Zap that sends our HelloSign documents directly into Slack there. Whenever a case is settled, we just tell everybody, hey, the case settled. We tell everybody in the firm that in a little Slack message. This is how we kind of just keep the emails down in my law firm so that you're not constantly bombarded in your inbox and you feel like you spend your whole day looking through your emails to make sure you didn't miss anything. Inter-office communications through Slack is the best way to keep that down so people stop emailing you. And you guys use Slack at CASEpeer too, right, Jaclyn?
Yes, we do. I love I love Slack. I couldn't operate my day-to-day without it.
And you can send funny pictures and GIFs, right, when you're in there?
Absolutely. That's a vital piece. /GIF.
That's right. That's right. Okay, that's pretty much all I got for the Zap that I created. We can open up for questions now, Jaclyn. I feel like I talked a little bit too fast for the time you allotted me.
Oh, yes, please. If there are questions, type those in. We have plenty of extra time together. I'd love to know if people are using Zapier now, what they're automating, if there's anything that they want to be automating that maybe they haven't, if they got any amazing ideas today and there's something they'll implement. So please, go ahead and type those in. There's questions on the right-hand side. There's also a couple polls that are really neat. It's nice to see who's utilizing Zapier so far. And we've also got what the favorite web app is for work. Let's see what we have. Help! Exclamation point.
I got one. It looks like Caleb is asking about Teams. I'm so glad you asked that, Caleb. Thank you. Yes, Zapier connects to Office 365 and Teams. It will send a team message instead of a Slack message. Pretty much anything that I've talked about, you can interchange them as if it's just like little puzzle pieces. You can take them out, put them back in. If you don't want to send an email to the client, you just want to send a team message to your team, you can do that. Zapier is very much just a plug and play when it comes to the different pieces of a Zap with the trigger and then do this if this happens, the if this then that portion of it. What I like to talk about, and this is apparently in a very obscure movie, Jaclyn, I don't know if you've ever seen Idiocracy. But there's this scene in Idiocracy. I tell a lot of people this. And let me know if you know what I'm talking about. But it's in the future and everybody's dumb, and the main character goes into a hospital, and the person behind the desk at the hospital just has a bunch of buttons with pictures on them, and they just press the button for what they think is wrong with the guy. Because the idea here is, in the future, everything's already going to be coded. If you need a piece of software, somebody's already written it. In fact, we're already kind of getting close to that now today with GitHub. Everybody's sharing what they're writing. Coding doesn't really happen from scratch anymore. You're plugging and playing the codes. So the no-code stuff like Zapier, is exactly that. You just need to learn what happens whenever I put a document in Dropbox, then send a message or do this. You don't need to know how to code to be able to use these things. I think another question is there a way for CASEpeer to accept information from a Zap? Jaclyn, you can take that one. I don't know what if CASEpeer is able to do that or they're going to in the future.
I think it depends specifically what you're looking for. So right now, we can funnel case information into CASEpeer. So even yesterday, I set up a Zap to help with Google Analytics for marketing. So anytime a case status was changed to retained, it populated a Google sheet that Google Analytics used to track those leads. It also works the other way with leads. So for those of you that are using Gravity Forms or a type form, or anyone that has a pop-up on their website, a client's filling out information or a potential client, that can be pushed into CASEpeer as a lead. So as long as Zapier has an integration with it, that can get pulled in. And then you could even, like Zach did, add a Slack notification, hey, there's a new lead in CASEpeer. So that's really exciting. There's a lot of flexibility with that and getting that information into CASEpeer as a lead, especially when we're talking about potential clients. Let's see. Looks like Caleb definitely knows what ideography is. I'm reading through the questions.
Electrolytes, yeah. Okay,
yep.
Good. So my reference wasn't lost on everyone. I appreciate
that. Let's see. Looking through some of the questions, making sure. Let's see. I promise this is easier than it sounds. Zach has a very, very sophisticated Zap. My first Zap just sent myself an email when a case was retained. But like you said, it's free to get started. They do charge if you're trying to do a ton of multi-step zaps, but really the possibilities are so unlimited. Everything in your day-to-day that you're manually doing, there's likely a Zap for it. Like there's over 3,000 available Zapier integrations right now. So if you have questions, if you need
I got
help,
another one, and maybe it's just it'll help a little bit with some of the Zaps that you can do, and I'll show one that CASEpeer is not involved with, but it'll help a little bit. This is one that I've created for whenever a new blog post is created in my blog on my website, because my website uses WordPress. And WordPress, right here, you can see the little WordPress logo. WordPress has a Zapier integration. So now I have this trigger. Anytime a new blog post is posted on my website, this Zap will create a post on my Facebook page of that blog. So I'm not going to show you the new post in WordPress. I'm afraid I might show something I'm not supposed to. But I've set up my action here. And I signed in with my Facebook account and I gave it access to my Zap. And I said, here's the Herbert Law Group website or Facebook page. The message can be anything you want. And then here's the link to the blog post. And it's very nice anytime. And I don't have to go in and manually create a post in Facebook. Every time I created a post on my website, it's just an automation there. I also, from there, I have, it sends it to a few different places like LinkedIn. If there's a new Facebook post, it sends it and posts it on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Because if you're posting things on multiple social media sites, which they tell you to do, and I don't know about you guys, but I can't spend all that time posting on all the social media things that exist. Then I have that one automated, so it posts on all the social media that I have. And then the rest of mine are very much about Dropbox and inboxes. I have it so that if there's a folder that has a new file in it, then it'll send it or copy it to everybody else's folder or inbox. So let's say you scan something in your law firm. If you scan the mail and you can make the scanner save it to a folder that you call scanned, then you can have a Zap that takes it out of that folder and copies it to everybody's inbox or copies it to a to be filed inbox or whatever you want it to be. I use it. Most of my Zaps are for Dropbox and using it for my filing system.
Very neat. Yeah, think way outside of the box. This is not just related to CASEpeer. I mean, there's apps that CASEpeer as company can use to help automate day to day when we're tracking information. So it's so diverse. I would hop onto Zapier's website and take a look. I think you'll be surprised. Everything, from MailChimp to Google Sheets to we have a client that loves using Trello for task automation. So now when a case is retained, they can create a new Trello board and that can set up tasks for their team. So really the possibilities are unlimited as far as that goes. But we do want to hear from you. I know there's a couple questions about pulling information into CASEpeer. So if there's specific data points you'd like to pull into CASEpeer to update things, if there's data points you'd like to pull out that we're not pulling out yet, let us know, send us a message. We definitely, this is kind of just the beginning of this integration. So like Zach said, we have a couple more things in mind. But of course, we want to hear what you need as a day-to-day for the firm. All right. Let's see, Zach, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah. I got my website for my consulting business up right now. That's zherbertconsulting.com. I plan on putting some Zapier how-to videos up there for everybody. I'd like to do a whole course on how to do Zapier from start to finish. I also have a lot of things on my CASEpeer automations, or my CASEpeer resources there for like my task list, my events, and my different templates that I've made. That are available on my website. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. That was one of the questions. Go to zherbertconsulting.com and you can get a hold of me there.
Wonderful. And I think I also have a slide with that information as well. So we can go ahead and pull that up for everybody. We've got here, and of course, if there's attendees here that aren't using CASEpeer yet that are curious, you can book a demo. There'll be a link to do that. And here's Zach and I's information. So reach out with questions, reach out with feedback. We really look forward to hearing from you. We're so excited you could join us today. And we're looking forward to additional feedback and the fabulous glasses. The glasses really made the entire webinar, and we have to end on that.
Okay, there they are.
Love it. All righty. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Zach.